You're listening to Innovators Can Laugh, the fun startup podcast. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Eric Melcher. And on Innovators Can Laugh, we investigate a new topic each week and interview some of the most innovative minds in the startup scene here in Europe. My goal is to turn my guests' wisdom into actionable advice that you can use to grow your business. No matter your industry, I'm here to uncover value, fund my guests by doing the proper research and asking the right questions. And at the end of each interview, we have a little fun where my guests reveal fun and interesting facts about themselves, the stuff you won't see on their LinkedIn profile. If you're new to the show, I'm a marketing geek and head of partnerships at tech startup Bonjoro. I'm also an American expat living in Romania. If you're curious about other European startups and what they're doing to scale, gain customers, or things that they do to differentiate themselves, hit the subscribe button because you'll love it here at Innovators Can Laugh podcast. Also, you can play the Innovators Can Laugh game and have an opportunity to compete against other startup folks on Twitter. Just look for the hashtag Innovators Can Laugh. Hey, ICO fans, Eric here. And in this episode, we are talking about walking away from a lucrative career, a career that would have paid you six figures right out of university, to launching a startup. Sounds crazy, huh? But this is what Arnaud Belinga did when he walked away from having studied to be a tax attorney for 7 years into launching a startup with his co-founder. It's pretty crazy, but it's a remarkable story, a really great journey. We talk about how he launched an MVP in 2 weeks, and just 3 weeks later, after a really successful launch on Product Hunt and a few other places, they made $20,000. We also talk about something else which is quite remarkable. In just a few short months, he has grown his Twitter following from 1 follower all the way to more than 5,000. It's really remarkable. So if that sounds pretty exciting to you, then check out this episode with my conversation with Arnaud. Arnaud, I'd like to start with your journey in becoming a tax lawyer. You studied for 7 years, graduated from the law school at the University of Glasgow, worked as a tax intern at a few places, and then you decided to jump into entrepreneurship. What exactly was going on in your mind during this time to make you forego everything you had been working towards?
It's been a really long journey. I got my law studies in both France and in UK. So in Paris, and then in the University of Glasgow, and then I finished my studies at University of Oxford. And initially, I wanted to be a tax lawyer. To be honest, like since day one, I always had the drive for entrepreneurship. And I was always making some side projects like freelancing in SEO. I had a passion for design as well. So I was doing motion design and stuff. And I had some e-commerce shops as well. And when it was about to become a lawyer, I did become a lawyer. I decided to don't take a job and to focus on SaaS with my co-founder. So I imagine it was the entrepreneurship drive, basically.
Okay. Was it your co-founder who kind of like nudged you like, hey, let's do this? I mean, or was it 100% entirely on your own to make that decision?
I think he played a part like 10 to 20%, but I think even without him, like I would have decided to go full send on a startup on my own, and also looking for other co-founders. I don't know. But yeah, we met doing a hackathon a year and a half ago, actually. And we didn't know each other, and we teamed up and we won the hackathon. And then we did a few projects together. And this is how we realized that there was a good fit, and we had the same mentality about building a business and then ultimately building a startup. And so, for sure, he played a role in it.
What was the project that you guys worked on at the hackathon? What did you guys create?
Not really original. It was a student app. So it was during COVID, and the theme of the hackathon was to build something for remote people. And we thought about students at the time because we were students at the time. And it was basically a mobile app where you ask questions like a Uber on demand, but for tutorials. So yeah, basically.
Okay, I'm just curious here. Your classmates, because I'm sure you got to know a lot of people along the way when you were at university. And when you broke the news to them, or maybe you didn't, I'm assuming you did, but when you told them that, hey, I'm just going to put off going the attorney route and I'm going to focus on my startup, what was their reaction?
Yeah, they basically say that I was pretty crazy because the thing is, with the studies I've done and that they've done, we were pretty much sure to secure a really high paying job in big law firms in Paris specifically. So with salaries, 100K plus salary guaranteed as a first job as a 25 years old is a lot. And so to say no to that, to live on your savings in an apartment with your co-founder in a small city where you know no one to build a startup, it's they thought I was crazy. But in the sense that the clients you have in a in a law firm, they took the startup route and they were not lawyers, for example. So big clients in a law firm, you see, like when I was talking with them, like they would always ask, like the thing is, when you are in a law firm, people they you always ask people what's your goal in your career, and they always say, I want to become a partner in the law firm. And when I was asked this question, I was always replying, I want to be a client, because the thing is, um, client had way more leverage than being a partner of a law firm. And being a client meant that you pretty much have had a successful startup, at least in the firms I was working in. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. Let's move into Breakcode, which is a code email outreach software with personalized icebreakers powered by AI. How did you come up with this idea, you and your co?
yeah, initially it was a side project, and originally we had a SaaS, was a live chat software, basically like intercom but for SMBs, and we were trying to grow that, but it was in its early stage, and we decided at some point to add more features, and one of the feature was to add cold emails within this software, and then we discovered AI thing with OpenAI, etc. And we played with it for a whole night, and just in a couple of hours we had the idea of Breakcall, because at the time I was prospecting a lot and sending cold emails to people, but I was spending a lot of time personalizing the first lines, and we got the idea pretty quick. And on the same day, so it was 26th of December precisely, we bought the domain, chose the name in like 1 minute, and 2 weeks later there was the MVP, and that's pretty much how it was born. So from a personal problem and as a side project of another project.
Yeah. Now you mentioned you opened the AI and you started playing with it. What do you mean by that exactly?
Yeah, because the thing with OpenAI, like you have a pretty much a platform where you can play with the AI, and but the thing is, we realized that all the platforms, they were just taking OpenAI and plug and play into their software to use with the AI. And so we realized we can go way beyond that to have better outputs quality. And so when I say play with it, so we started to think how we can improve it. So yeah.
Okay. And where did you find this platform at?
What do you mean by that?
Like this software, this tool, did you go to like a specific place and pull something off the shelf?
Yeah, it was pretty much on Twitter. Like people were talking about it, and that's how we found about it. Well, yeah.
Does it have like a name or anything?
You mean, oh, yeah, OpenAI? Yeah.
Okay. So that's the name of
It's
it.
actually the
OpenAI.
name of it. So it's basically like the thing that Elon Musk created, because he created a lot of stuff. And one of the things he created is
Yeah.
basically an association, a public association. And what they do is basically they built an AI model, and they put it for free for the people, and you can use it in a different ways, and you can build also on top of it with your own models. So there's a lots of possibilities, and it was in private beta for a year, and then in last year, like in the end of the year, they released it as a public beta. So now everyone can pretty much play with it. and then you can build specific use cases if you know how to code, etc.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. And how would you say that break code helps a business?
Yeah, I would say very cool, helps a business in a multiple ways. So the first thing is it allows you to save time a lot on your cold outreach because you can automate follow-ups. You can automate personalization with some system of custom variables with hey first name, and then it becomes the name of the prospect you want to reach out, etc. You can also it also protect your deliverability when you do cold outreach because we check if your email addresses are valid. Because the problem is that when you go buying list or go on some softwares and they provide you with email addresses, they say they are valid, but the truth is 10%, 20%, most of the time it's not valid. So we check that for you, and then we don't have your emails bouncing. And then the third thing is personalization. So with the AI, we create personalized first lines, and with that, for many reasons, in the end, you get a better open rate, but more importantly, you get a better reply rates because obviously, like the person thinks that you personalize the email for them, and you can also. So how we see the AI is more like it's not the goal is not to automate everything, because if you automate everything, like at some point it will not work. But we kind of see more as an AI, a sales assistant, so you can win way more time. And if you're not satisfied with the results, you can still modify the sentences, tweak it a bit on the info you know about the prospect. But basically, what we sell is time saving and more meetings books.
Yeah, the deliverability factor is huge. I think I just saw this week Limless was having a problem with a lot of their emails going into the spam box. And I'm more curious though, the personalized uh, subject lines or the personalized copy. How is that kind of working behind the scenes? Where is it pulling that personalization, or at least the suggestions for that personalization from?
Yeah, basically we operate with many data points. So right now there's two ways to do it. So when you import a CSV into Breadcode, what you can do is that you most of the time when you download leads in other platforms, you also have not only the email address of your prospect, but you also have the website URL and the LinkedIn URL. And so when you import a CSV into Breadcode, what you can do is to do a mass AI generation. And so for each lead, depending on the website URL or the LinkedIn URL, we're going to generate a few first lines for each prospect. So imagine you chose to generate the icebreakers, so the first lines with the LinkedIn URL. We would generate 4 different sentences depending on the buyer of the prospect, on the voluntary experience, the award experience, and if the prospect has any recommendation, we will generate something. And so if, for example, you have a recommendation from, I don't know, you, Eric, you have a recommendation from Anna Hathaway, and we're going to say, the AI would say something like, so the recommendation that Anna Hathaway lets you, I really like how you passionate with your podcast. Keep going. Something like that. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, interesting, interesting. And what is a misconception that people have about code emails for people that are reluctant to send out code emails? What's a misconception that they have?
Yeah, I think the main misconception they have is that it's spam. The thing is, like, except in a really few countries, maybe in Finland, it's not considered per se as spam, because what you do is that you're allowed to send cold emails, especially to B2B people. Obviously, for B2C, it's not allowed in almost all countries if you do cold outreach. But the main misconception is that it's spam, which is not, because obviously because of people who send millions of cold emails a day without doing any personalization, and they are spams. But if you do it if you follow the best practices, like, people never complain when they receive a good email that is tailored for them and that can benefit them for the business. So yeah, I think it's the main misconception about it, pretty much.
Okay. And for anybody who's doing cold email now, what's something that they should stop doing?
I think they should start doing send less, but send better. So basically, putting more efforts toward personalization. Because the thing is, you can, if you don't personalize enough, like the person who the recipient will understand that it's just a copy pasted email. So that's the first point. Second point, I think that a lot of people do wrong. Is they don't iterate on the ideal customer profile enough. And so sometimes you think you don't have results. You think your copywriting of your email is bad. The truth is maybe you're not targeting the right people. You should iterate more on many verticals. So this is the main problem. Because even to be honest, even if you don't personalize your outreach, if you targeted the perfect people for your product, there will be no problem because it was done in the perfect manner. So yeah, really nailing the ICP part, so ideal customer profile.
Yeah. So true. So true. I send out onboarding welcome videos, at least 20 a day, and I get much better results if I segment by the type of industry versus SaaS versus education versus online creator. And I have a different message that I share with those people, and the results are much, much better than if I just send what I think is a good generic welcome video. You sent out a tweet where you mentioned a while back where you mentioned that in just a few weeks, after releasing your MVP, you did like $20,000 in MRR, and that was your annual goal to start off with. What accelerated that growth in just a short amount of time?
Yeah, just to precise on this tweet, it wasn't, and we never say it was MRR. We say we made 20K in a week. It felt like we reached our MRR goal, yearly goal, but it's not because it wasn't MRR, just to precise on that. And
Okay.
so, yeah, how we did it is that we did an early launch in Facebook groups, and we built an offer to get early adopters in exchange of a nice deal. And in exchange, they are committed to give a lot of feedback. And so we designed an offer, and it was limited for 7. But the thing is, the price was increasing every 2 days. And so most of the money, actually 12K out of the 20 came in 24 hours because of this promo effect. And so, yeah, that's how we did it. So we had 2 weeks. So we had 3 weeks after launching the MVP. So we did build the MVP in 2 weeks. 1 week later, we got paying customers in MRR. So 3 people, I think, like 1 week after. And then 2 weeks later, we launched this early adopter deal in Facebook groups only because this is where they were used to this kind of deal.
Okay. I know you had a successful launch on Product Hunt, and I see you on Twitter, obviously. And now you mentioned Facebook groups. What's sort of the mix of where you're getting your early adopters from? Is it like 30% from Twitter and like 40% from Facebook? I just wonder if you can share more information about it.
To be fully honest, we still haven't figured out what is the perfect acquisition channel for us. Initially, we thought that Twitter might be useful, but we actually have lots of traffic from Twitter each day, but it doesn't convert that well. So maybe the traffic is not qualified enough for what we do. But obviously, we are sales automation, sales engagement software, and I'm pretty sure that what we should go after is LinkedIn. And so right now I'm trying to get to build a presence on LinkedIn. But right now, like most of our traffic comes from Twitter, Product Hunt, because once you launch on Product Hunt, every single day you still have traffic from Product Hunt. So we get a good traffic from that. And then it's Google, just with the brand name. People write the brand calls themselves on Google. And we started SEO of it, so we have a few traffic from this. But I would say that half of the traffic is Twitter. Then it's pretty like 10% of pretty much everything. But the goal is to switch that towards LinkedIn because I think this is where the qualified leads are, because every time I do a small post or even like really small things on LinkedIn, I got more results. So I think I should double down there. But yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I signed up for a trial, and the onboarding emails I received afterwards were amazing. It included these short little videos explaining how to do some function in the platform. And you also provide the users the ability to add or upvote any ideas for new features or add-ons. It seems like a lot of thought went through the customer experience. Was this something that you spent a lot of time on thinking about before you actually launched? And if so, did you have any inspiration from another product or from someone else?
Yeah, to be fully transparent, we got inspiration from another product that is called Spoke. And I don't remember precisely what they do, but it struck us that they had this feedback page where you can upvote features. And basically, this is where we got the idea that it was really good, especially in the early days when you're building a product, that have people and early adopters engaged, because some people, they are engaging in the live chat, requesting for features, fixing bugs or whatever. But most people, they will not send you a message, and they rather just vote quickly something or write anonymously a proposal as a feature. And so, yeah, we took inspiration from them. And how they got inspiration too, I think it's because on Twitter, there's many products who do that. And so yes, this is basically how it happened.
Okay. And what is the trajectory? I mean, what is your goal for the year in terms of ARR this year?
So in terms of, basically our goal is to go from zero. So beginning of this year, from 0 to 20K in MRR. So then you multiple that by 12 and you have the ARR. But basically, this is the goal: 20K MRR by the end of the year. Not precisely by the end of the year, but for the 1 year, well, Brett calls 1 year anniversary. So maybe for the MVP release, so 8th of January or 26th December, depending on the date you want to choose.
Yeah. And well, the first quarter is almost over. So how are you doing? Do you think you're like 25% of the way or 10% of the way? Just kind of a rough estimate.
Yeah, the early months are always the most difficult, as you might know. And so right now we're about to break the first K in MRR, but it's compounding. We know it's compounding. We've seen that with other founders and who share the MRR growth. And so I think the most important steps is to break the 1K milestone, and if you manage to break the 1K, 2K, 3K, then it's compounding like crazy. Like we have some friends who just it took them like 7 months to break the 1K MRR, and now they just they added 2K in MRR in just 1 week, so they jumped from 4K to 6K pretty quick. So it's really hard to figure this out, but once you have it, we believe it's compounding like Twitter followers, like whatever in life.
Yeah. What's something that you would recommend for all SaaS startup founders should either start doing or stop doing, based on your limited experience here, but you're having a lot of success so far. So what would you suggest?
Yeah, I think just do things, because sometimes you myself too, still today, you overthink too much, and sometimes you just need to do things, and you will see if it works or if it doesn't, and then you can just iterate fast. I think the most important thing is speed. So you need to be quick, so you need to be fast, because if you are, maybe the others are not. And if you are not fast enough, they will. So I need an update, like this kind of some competition. And so if you want to catch up the gap also with big players and established players, it's the only way how you can do it, especially that we try to penetrate quite a competitive or have saturated market. And so speed is highly important. So yeah, that was be my only advice of being a doer, and just do things.
Okay, cool. Before we go, I have a couple of fun questions for you, because I like the audience to get to know who you are a little bit. If you weren't a startup founder, what occupation would you be? And you cannot say tax attorney.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think like I was thinking about it yesterday night. Actually, I think I would have been probably a writer. I really like imagining and writing stories, and I have a passion for video since I'm a child. Initially, I wanted to be a 3D character designer for video game, and so I really like worlds and imagining worlds. So stories in the end. So I think I would have loved to write stories, especially stories in the cinema industries. So yeah, maybe something related to that.
Yeah, no, I can attest. Your writing is very good. In fact, I think you've taken your Twitter following from virtually zero. When did you get on Twitter for the first time?
So yeah, I was a LinkedIn guy initially. So I discovered Twitter in November, and my account was 1 year old, but I got only one follower, and so I really started Twitter seriously with one follower on I think the 8th of November, and yeah, now we're approaching maybe 5K today. So yeah, in like 1 month and a half, yeah, it took off.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Second question for you, Arnaud. What's the most death-defying act that you've ever done?
Defying act, you say?
Yes.
What's an example for you?
Oh, well, I think maybe skydiving.
Okay, got
Or,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I think okay, got it. Yeah, once I've been to Northern Ireland just by myself when I was living in Glasgow. I took the plane just by myself, and I bicycled there for 3 days without listening to music, without pretty much talking to anybody, just with my camera, taking pictures, thinking. And yeah, at night also I was bicycling at night. So, and I was going to crazy places. I almost died actually under a castle, a lost castle, and yeah, crazy story. Yeah, with bats,
You,
etc. In a strange cave. Really dangerous, but it was one of the most wonderful things I've seen too. So yeah.
you were exploring this underground castle by yourself, or?
Yeah. Actually, um, there was something that was saying, yeah, you are not allowed to go beyond this line because otherwise it can be highly dangerous. And
Yeah.
so, but it was so beautiful because it was a magnificent cave and the castle that was built on top of a rock next by a shore, and the view was so magnificent. So I went for it, and I almost got took over by the waves because there was giant waves under the cave. And when I
Yeah.
and when I looked up on the cave, there was like 200 bats or something, and then I hold my breath not to scream because yeah, I got tricked out of it, and yeah, and because the rocks can also fall and then you can pretty much die pretty quickly. So yeah.
Yeah. Did you get any good photos at least?
Yeah, I have
Any good
those where
waves coming in? You're like in this cave with bats.
yeah.
What? Oh man. Oh man. I bet you slept good that night, right?
Yeah. But there's so many stories in this in Northern Ireland. Got also almost eaten by a fox. Like no, there's too many stories. It was
So you
pretty dangerous. All everything that I did this short trip.
you just had like a backpack with everything in there. Your tent
I
or whatever.
wanted to go there, and all of my friends wanted to go there. So I said, okay, I'm gonna buy the flight because it was just 17 pounds back and forth, and to go there. And so I went there by myself, and there's nothing in Northern Ireland. There's no lights at night when you go to a
Yeah.
village to another village. It's you pretty much lost in the land, and so I had a bike with no light, and I rented a bike, but the light was not functioning, and yeah, then I was up in a hill, and then when I was sweating because I was scared, I didn't know where I wanted to go. My GPS wasn't functioning. I'd lost track of the right route to find the place where I was supposed to sleep. And then in front of me, up in the hill with my bike, there was two giant foxes that I named. I was used to fox in Glasgow, but it was giant. These ones, they were really big. So
Yeah, and they're wild, right? Really wild.
Yeah, and they were just looking at me in the hill, and in the hill, I cannot go fast, so I cannot,
Yeah, yeah,
And so, yeah, but if I stop, I'm really stopped. So I'm really stopping. So,
yeah.
and so the only way I I managed to fight them, and I screamed like I was about to die, and so I screamed so hard that they moved a bit, and then they were following me when I was bicycling, and so yeah, and then I found the village and they stopped following me, but yeah, and then I ran at the hostel. And I was terrified. Didn't eat. I went to bed, and say, "Oh, maybe it's dangerous to bicycle at night." But no, that happened without anything. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that is so cool, man. That is so cool. Arnaud, thank you so much for being on the show. Where can people learn more about you, Arnaud?
Oh yeah, sorry. They can learn more about me on Twitter, sharing my story here, and hit me up on LinkedIn. It's here I respond the most. So yeah.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Arnaud.
Yeah, thank you very much, Eric. Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the show. If you enjoyed it, I'd really appreciate it if you could give us a review and star rating. Also, don't forget to sign up for the ICO newsletter at innovatorscanlaugh.com, where you can get the bio and details of each guest. Thanks.